Hi, I'm John Carter, and I'm a member of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Lawton, Oklahoma. My wife Carol and I have been active members over the past 37 years when we moved here from San Diego. But my history actually dates back much further than that. I'm a cradle Episcopalian. I lived most of my first 8 years of life here in Lawton. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and when we were very young, my parents brought us to church, and actually my dad was instrumental in raising funds to help build this church. I know, I've heard anyway, that early on that we used to sit in the back of the church and probably cut up quite a bit, so my dad decided we sit up in the second row so we could see things. I don't know if that helped or not, because I really don't have a lot of memory of that. But we were very early members of this church, and actually there was a plaque on the first row of my grandmother's name on that. After I turned 8, we moved to Kansas City, where we were members of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Kansas City, Missouri, and I was actually confirmed at that church. And then we moved back here when I was 16, and we continued to be active members of the church. After high school and in college, and after that I did go to medical school, I think a lot of young people aren't as active in church at that time. And then we moved to, well, actually after medical school, when I graduated, I moved to San Diego, and Carol and I were married out there. We lived out there in San Diego for 7 years, and we attended St. James Episcopal Church by the Sea. And we were members of that, and we actually had our 2 sons were born there and were baptized there, and then we moved back to Lawton. We had a daughter here, and she was baptized in this church. So we have a long history of this church. It's been, it's changed a lot over the years. We've been through many different rectors. We've all grown with this, and my children have all grown up here, and they continue to attend church in other cities where they live at this time. I have found that there were times going to church it was probably more of an obligation, but that's changed, especially in later years in life. I've certainly developed a much more spiritual and rewarding time at this church. And certainly now with what I still consider our new rector, Stephanie Jenkins, it's revitalized and re-energized the church. It's an experience now that I think that Carol and I enjoy coming to, and we certainly get a lot out of the church when we're here. Our children, when they come, they also come here. We now have several grandchildren, and they all are active participants in their church. And I think that's because they grew up in this church. I particularly like the Episcopal Church. I like the traditional service and the rituals that we all use during the service. And I hope to continue attending church here at St. Andrew's in Lawton for many more years to come.